Sean here, and we are going to make a little addition. This is to the video I made yesterday where we talked about step 1, step 2, and step 3, and then step 1A, step 2A. And we asked Chancey Poo if he was an outsider, what would he tell him? Well, we're going to go a step further. Because when you're dealing with Chance and you're dealing with someone, first off, Chance likes to make everything overcomplicated. He wants everyone to know how smart he is, so you could tell him 1 + 1 is 2. And rather than just repeat it back, 1 + 1 is 2, he'd want to draw out a diagram that had nothing to do with 1 + 1 is 2, over-explain it, explain it incorrectly, rather than just learning and moving along. I noticed there was a shoe print by the window, and there was one shoe print, but what I didn't know, you get the meaning. So we're going to offer Chance, we're going to offer him a redemption arc here. We're going to have kid Chance, adolescent Chance, and adult Chance. Now, in reality, he's still down there at adolescent Chance. And then we're going to do parent Chance. I know it's gross, but just hear me out. So step 1, if you remember, was who you really are. And we basically said you can't tell Chance exactly what he is. You have to tell him in general terms. Like I said, a guy living in a house who doesn't contribute anything, isn't responsible, how about that, for paying rent or utilities or food, because that is a living arrangement. Leave it right there. See that definitive statement at the end? Because that is a living arrangement. That buttons it up, so Chance doesn't need to argue. I bet you'd still say, well, you're right, that is the living arrangement. That's what we got going on. So you have to go to kid Chance, who would look at the Chance of today, and you'd say, all right, Cyraxx, kid Chance, how would he describe the Chance of today? I have a feeling it would be exactly what he's been screaming. Rock star, famous, well-known. Then I would ask Chance, what did that kid version of Chance want to be? Remember, not of you. You can't make it personal with Chance. If you say you, he might just snap. He'll disconnect completely. Well, I think he'd be pretty proud of me. He'd be pretty proud of that, Chance. Okay, Cyraxx, tell me some of the things that kid Chance would compliment current Chance on. I have no doubt he would say that the kid Chance would say, I'm glad you're living your dream of making music and being a content creator, and really what it is, he just wants to be famous. So maybe the kid version will eventually say, and I'm proud of you for being famous. But here's where I think you'd stumble with Cyraxx, in my opinion. His own thoughts would creep into that, and he would say, and I know, the kid would say, I know you're rich, but you just don't have the money because of all those trolls. And you'd have to explain to him, Chance, we're not talking, that kid Chance wouldn't have any idea about any of this. Wouldn't even know that you were supposed to have millions, according to you. Wouldn't know about the trolls. He would just see the Chance of today and his situation. Because remember, Cyraxx, children will tell the truth, and they're not very observant. They don't pick up on the subtleties like an older Chance would. He still doesn't pick up on it. Then you go to adolescent Chance, and you ask him, and you say, okay, adolescent Chance, he might have a little more awareness of what's going on. But remember, this is Chance back at the time that you were, let's just say 13. Let's just skip all that other, and let's just make it a 13-year-old with teen in it. Chance can definitely relate to 13-year-olds, if you know what I'm saying. Chance would immediately go right back into all the trolls, and you should be rich. You'd have to squash all of that, and you'd have to explain to him, your 13-year-old self who had big dreams, what does he see when he's looking at current Chance right now? If he was to show up to your house and knock on the door, let me back up, I broke my own rules. If he was to show up at Chance of today's house and knocked on the door, What would he say to the chance of today? Remember, not you. He'll shut down. Wow, you've gotten really tall. No, I'm just kidding. He's been the same height for his entire life. Since his mom shot him out of her ass, he's been the same height. Now, the chance of 13 might, in reality, say to the chance of today, nice beard. And you have the melodic singing vocals of Jimmy Jack Johnson, of Black Toad Mafia. In reality, what you might say to him is, well, why don't you show him all of the cool stuff you've made? Or excuse me, the chance of today could show him all of the cool stuff he's made. And maybe that he has. Well, you know, I have all these toys, but they were bricked, and you just want to scream at him. No, you bricked them. Moving on. You have to remind him, remember, the chance of today, that 13-year-old chance, he wouldn't have any idea that any of that stuff happened. So if you told him that you didn't have those anymore, it wouldn't mean anything, because he didn't know you had them to begin with. So you're going backwards here, buddy. Okay, I won't tell him about all the stuff I lost. Right there, you would think there would be some kind of breakthrough. That the chance of today would be telling the 13-year-old chance, who still had big dreams, who still thought he was going to be something, some big shot, that he was going to have to tell that chance that he lost so much. In essence, he went backwards. If you asked, okay, Cyraxx, what would the chance of today say about the chance at 13 years old? He wouldn't get this, but let's do it anyway. Well, he has a lot of hope, Chance, describe the 13-year-old Chance. Oh, he was happy. You can hear all this, right? He was happy. He had a lot of hope. He was great melodic singing vocals. So anyway, he would start talking about this kid was going to conquer the world. And right there, you would think, okay, here's opportunity number 2. You lost everything. That was opportunity number 1, the chance of today. Now, the chance of the past, he was happy and positive and hopeful and had a future. What chance just admitted right there? I'm just guessing how this would go. You get him here. He admitted that he has died already. His life has died on the vine. He has no future. There's nothing. He's already unhappy and miserable and has nothing. He's fallen victim to this world and the evil inward boy and William Gloryhole. And music, Biz Marty. That should be a failure indicated right there. Oh my God, I'm a failure. But nope. Then you could, I'm just saying, if this was someone who was much more clever than I was, this is when you overlap these and you have the 13-year-old chance ask the chance of today what his plan is to get huge. What's his plan to get to that end goal? You're basically asking him to do the same thing we did in the last video, when we asked Chance himself to tell the Chance we were talking about how to get from step 1 to step 2. Now you're having a younger version of himself. If he identified that younger version of himself as happy and energetic and hopeful, you would have to put Chance in that role and say, what would that happy, energetic, and hopeful 13-year-old Cyraxx tell the Chance of today? If you can get him in a mindset where he's saying something positive and he's motivating the Chance of today, Chance himself is motivating himself. The 13-year-old Chance he's playing the role of, he's actually talking to himself, but he doesn't know that because you put it in a little scenario. Now, on any other person, that could spark something. Maybe a memory of that youthful, fun person they used to be, motivating this person that may have I'm just saying, this is not Chance, this is you maybe. Life has been really difficult and challenging, and it's just kicked you in the balls over and over again, and you're just trying to keep moving. Maybe verbalizing some of the things that you know you need to hear, maybe that would help you. But I don't know. I don't know if it would help Chance. You have to get to a sobering point in all of this. So the Chance of today, this is, I don't know if you get him to do this, but the Chance of today, you have him explain to Kid Chance his situation in a way, I think you see where I'm going with this. Chance is not very smart. So you have to have him describe it to himself without him knowing. You have to have him dumb it down so a kid could understand. What I'm asking him to do is verbalize it in a way that current Chance can understand. Take out all the bullshit about Inward Boy, William Glory Hole, Music Biz Marty, take it all out. Take out the Fame and the Adult Swim and take all of that out. And current Chance, I want you to talk to Child Chance and tell him about your life. Imagine, well, I still live with Sally, I live with Sally and Ed, and I got my own room. I don't know if he'd do this, but I got my own room, and I make music, and then here's where you take a risk. You change into Kid Chance, and you look at Chance and you say, in a childlike voice, do you have a lot of money? Maybe Chance would go with it. And then if he says, whatever he says, if you can continue down that line where you are now, Chance is that kid who you could hold a puppet and talk to his face, and you could put it right next to your face, and he could see your lips moving and the puppet's, but he would turn and look at the puppet like 3 and 4 year olds will do, because they'd rather see the puppet talk than you talk. You would have to, I'm trying to say this in the right way. Your voice as Kid Chance would be the puppet. You would have to get him to imagine that he's talking to Kid Chance, you playing the role, rather than just you speaking in an annoying child's voice, although he might get a little turned on. What the goal is to get him to communicate with what he once was and get that person that he believed he used to be to reconcile with who he is. Because no matter how much he wants to, he can't go back and change the past. I wish I could make him understand that what he's doing right now is what the 13-year-old kid was doing, dreaming big, assuming that he's going to make it big. There's going to be an opportunity that comes out of nowhere. Someone's going to recognize his talent. And now he's a 40-year-old toddler who is stuck at 13 years old, forever a teenager. You could also take another risk if you felt so inclined. You could talk about grandfather Chance, looking back about this time in his life, and what would he say about it? How would he describe it? How was the Chance of today feeling? How was the Chance of today planning? How was he going to make a living? What was he going to do when Sally died? Or if you really want to do it, what did he do after Sally died? Ask him scenarios. Get him to say what he thinks is going to happen, but get him to do it as grandfather Chance. Truthfully, Chance Wilkins would find all of this fun because he's the center of attention. And not only is there him, but now he's got like 5 versions of himself that are all talking amongst each other, which is, if you think about the way that this is done, all 5 or 4, whatever it was, are all talking about him. So that's 5 of himself, all talking about him. It's like a narcissist's dream come true. Now you see if you can push the envelope. And this might be where he disconnects. Chance, if your mom could see you right now, not Sally, but your real mom, if she could see you right now, or someone he was close with, say it's an uncle, who knows, if they could see you right now, I'm sorry to backtrack again, somebody that passed away when he was young, or younger, if they could see you right now, would they be happy with where the Chance of today is at? Sorry, if they could see the Chance of today right now, slap. I don't know why I keep doing that. What would they think of the Chance of today? Is there any advice they might give him? Unfortunately, he would say, just keep being yourself, just keep doing you, I'm so proud of you, you're such a good boy. But you see where I'm going with this. You have to bring in imaginary characters. You have to talk about him in the fucking third person. You have to baby him. You have to trick him. You have to make it convoluted, but easily followed. You don't want him to figure out what you're doing. You want him to be a step behind at all times, and those epiphanies have to be his own. You can't make him have a revelation, because God knows it would be nice if you could. So anyway, just wanted to add some more stuff to it. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.
It doesn't make sense to me.